This video is going to instruct you on how to use TIQA to formulate body paragraphs. TIQA stands for Topic Sentence, Introduce Quote, Quote, and Analysis. So here is a sample essay topic. We've all read The Crucible, and this is a pretty straightforward topic that we can use in order to clearly see how TIQA is applied in order to create a succinct, well-developed paragraph. So the topic is discuss the changes that Reverend Hale undergoes in the course of the play. The first thing you need to know about topic sentences is that they need to be very closely tied to the thesis. So think of a topic sentence as a reason why your thesis is true. And here's a sample thesis. Although Reverend Hale starts out a confident witch hunter, he quickly becomes guilt-ridden and desperate to stop the bogus trials he feels responsible in starting. Now, if you're trying to prove that Reverend Hale has changed, you're going to want to show how he is in the beginning, middle, and end of the play, and your three topic sentences should state that. So here are the three topic sentences I came up with. Number 1. In the beginning of the play, Reverend Hale is cocky and eager to find a witch in Salem. Sentence number 2. After many upstanding citizens are arrested, Hale begins to doubt the validity of the accusations and the trials themselves. Topic sentence number 3. By the end of the play, Hale is overwhelmed with guilt and desperately begs the courts to stop the madness he had a part in creating. Now, as we develop the body paragraphs using TIQA, I want you to remember the point of the body paragraph is to give support for your thesis. So give an example and prove it, and we do that through quotes. A quote provides direct evidence from the text to prove what you have set out to prove, in this case, that Reverend Hale has changed. So we start off with our first topic sentence. In the beginning of the play, Reverend Hale is cocky and eager to find a witch in Salem. And then we need to set up or introduce a quote that proves that topic sentence. You can't just throw it in there. So if you sort of skip ahead to the quote I've chosen, you'll see it's in the dramatic exposition in which the author tells us about Hale upon his arrival. So I'm going to introduce that by saying, when he first arrives in Salem, then I'm going to give the quote, conceives of himself much as a young doctor on his first call. His painfully acquired armory of symptoms, catchwords, and diagnostic procedures are to be put to use at last. Then comes what I consider the most important part of TIQA, which is the analysis. So you're going to want to explain the quote. You need to address the so what. Explain how that quote that you just gave proves your original point. It is clear that Hale is excited to be the expert on witches for the people of Salem. He feels important and proud that his help is needed, and he is more than eager to be the one to diagnose the young girls and find signs of witchcraft. Now, you can stop there and move on to your next body paragraph, but it's always recommended to repeat TIQA. So remember, the more evidence that you can give to support your argument, the stronger your case is. So here TIQA is repeated. We're not going to give an entirely new topic sentence, we're just restating it in a new way to remind our reader of our point and provide more evidence for it. So in addition to what the author tells us about Reverend Hale, we can see his confidence in the way he speaks to the people of Salem. Okay? So we've said again that he comes in confident. That's the same idea as our original topic sentence. So now again we're going to introduce the quote by saying, when asked about his heavy books, he says, give your quote, they must be, they're weighted with authority. And again, analyze that quote and explain how it proves your main point. His response indicates that he should be regarded as the authority on the matter. Because he is the one with the books, his word should be taken as truth without question. He even tells them that he will not proceed unless they promise to believe what he says. Okay, so we gave two solid pieces of evidence that prove Reverend Hale comes in super confident and eager to catch witches. There are, however, many more quotes and examples that show this, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to weave in depending on how strongly they support your argument and how much time you have to write. So remember, the more evidence the better. However, you need to stay organized and sometimes your time is limited. So here are just a couple other quotes. He feels the pride of a specialist whose unique knowledge has at last been publicly called for. He loves the fact that he's being called to ascertain witchcraft. He smiles when he hears all these rumors as he's coming into Salem. He feels himself allied with the best minds of Europe. And definitely some other examples, including the manner in which he questions Abigail and Tituba. He is bound and determined to find a witch. Okay, so now we're ready to start body paragraph 2. This time, instead of jumping right into our topic sentence, we need to have a short transition that links the two ideas of paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 together. So here we're saying, although he comes into town with confidence, that's short and to the point, and it sets us up to make a new point that in the middle he loses that confidence. So here's our topic sentence number 2. After many upstanding citizens are arrested, Hale begins to doubt the validity of the accusations and the trials themselves. Now I'm going to introduce my quote by saying, when he shows up to the Proctor house to put some questions as to the Christian character of their house, he appears, give your quote again, drawn a little, and there is a quality of deference, even of guilt about his manner now. Okay, and then again, you're going to want to analyze it, and I can't emphasize enough how important the analysis is. So you must explain to your reader how this quote that you give is proving your point. Hale is starting to understand the community and see that something larger is at play. He wonders if there may be secret vendettas, old scores to settle, or motives rooted in sin. So if we're going to repeat TIQA, here is a second piece of evidence that we could give to suggest that Hale is starting to have some doubts. So again, here's a new way of saying our topic sentence. He even mentions his misgivings to John after Elizabeth is arrested. Okay, introduce the quote. He advises him. Give the quote. Were there murder done perhaps and never brought to light? Abomination, some secret blasphemy that stinks to heaven? Think on cause, man, and let you help me to discover it. For there's your way, believe it, there's your only way when such confusion strikes upon the world. You're going to want to analyze that quote, explain how it proves your topic sentence. Hale's advice to John indicates that he believes vengeance may be motivating people to cry witch. His guilt is catching up to him as he counsels the accused and their families. Here are some more pieces of evidence that you could use to support the points made in body paragraph 2. He turns away from Francis, deeply troubled. He's advising the proctors again, God keep you both, get your third child baptized quickly, go to church, keep a quiet way. He's surprised when John Proctor tells him, Abigail Williams told you it had naught to do with witchcraft. Why did you keep this? So here we're seeing evidence that Hale is starting to question some things. Okay, so last body paragraph, we need to prove that he has changed from how he was at the beginning. So again, we start with our topic sentence that explains how he is different, how he is now at the end of the play. We need a little transition, so his doubt about the trials continues to grow. That's linking ideas from body paragraph number 2. And our topic sentence, by the end of the play, Hale is overwhelmed with guilt and desperately begs the courts to stop the madness he had a part in creating. Introduce your quote. He pleads, you must pardon them, they will not budge. Analyze that quote, explain. The accused will no longer lie to save themselves, and Hale realizes that if they die, he is partly responsible for their deaths. His guilt is palpable. Repeat. So rephrase that topic sentence again, saying in a new way that he is now overwhelmed with this guilt. Hale does not hide his agony from the courts. Okay, give an introduction. As Danforth questions his intentions, he exclaims, this is a really powerful quote, there is blood on my head. Can you not see the blood on my head? Your analysis. Hale's conscience is completely racked with guilt. He later begs Elizabeth to plead with her husband to confess, because if John is executed, he will count himself his murderer. Here are some more pieces of evidence that you could include in that last paragraph to suggest that Hale has completely changed from how he was in the beginning. So he does everything that he can to support John in Act 3 when he tells Danforth he believes Proctor and Abigail has always struck him false. He quits the court, which is an open act of defiance. He's begging Elizabeth to get her husband to confess. He says flat out to Danforth, it's a lie, they're innocent, and he says, it's enough that he confess himself. Let him sign it. Let him sign it. Okay. And that's it. So just to review, a well-developed body paragraph includes the following. A strong topic sentence that is closely tied to your thesis. an introduction of a quote with a few words, a solid quote that is related to the topic sentence, and an explanation of the quote and how it proves that the topic sentence, and by extension the thesis, is true. Thanks for listening.